Well, I told you guys I'd do more wheelies if I got more subscribers, so I'm a line of my word. Yeah. Hey, I know it would be a fun idea if I did a video about a brand new Ducati versus one that was made just about 20 years ago now. Would that be cool? I think it'd be cool. So all I need is a really new Ducati to match my 916 here. Oh shit, there's one right behind me. Oh god, boat anchors. So many boat anchors. Bye-bye. Fuck you. Don't pull out on me, you dicks. So comparing, I guess, the 916 to the 1199, what can we say? Well, the 1199 has almost twice as much power. I mean, this is a very strong 916, but it's still is down about 80 horsepower to the Quickie Duck. And the 1199 is chock full of technology, whereas the 916 has EFI, and that's pretty much it. Very different bikes to ride. 916 is much less ergonomically advanced, which means it's much more painful to ride on long distances. That's kind of why they call it the torture rack. Whereas the Panigale is, generally speaking, much easier to ride. I wouldn't call it an everyday bike, but it's pretty damn close. That being said, I use this 916 as an everyday bike. Back when I worked in New York City, I commuted into the city for like 6 years on this thing. Yeah, just about every day. Every day it wasn't snowing or raining like a bitch. This has stock bars, stock seat, you know, none of the comfort tweaks that people generally put on 916s. And, you know, it wasn't fun at times, but I got used to it. I got, you know, abs of steel. What else? They sound quite similar even for being very different engines. This is one of the last Desmo Quattro engines, whereas the Panigale has like the newest of the new Trenstretta engine, which is slightly different, but it's very different in construction and in fuel mapping and generally how it works. But in the basic configuration, you know, the L-twin 4-valve Desmodronic drive valves, it's got all the heritage of the 916. It's just a much more modern evolution of it. So the bikes share a lot of DNA. I mean, you can look at them and you're going to say, yep, those are both Ducatis. The 916 is possibly slightly more iconic than the Panigale, but if you asked any younger person, they'd have to say the Panigale is a sexier bike. Not that the 916 looks dated by anyone's measure, but it also doesn't look, you know, it doesn't have a lot of the modern aero design. Like back when the 916 happened, aerodynamic design on a bike and, you know, heat extraction was just, you know, like a 70s race car. They thought about it, but they didn't really do a whole lot of wind tunnel testing or any stuff like that. Whereas the Panigale is an engineering tour de force, is what I would say if I was writing for like Autocar or something, or Motorcycle Magazine. It's just designed by many computers, whereas the 916 was designed with many glasses of Italian red. They're both crazy. One thing I noticed just the other day when I was driving the Panigale rather, It terrifies me how fast that bike can go if you use all of the bike. I hate to embarrass another biker, but fuck that shit. Holy shit! God damn! I think I left it in race mode. You put it in race mode, and you just leave the loud handle completely open, and you use quick shift through like the first 4 or 5 gears. You're doing like 170 miles an hour, and it's shocking how fast it gets there. Whereas the 916 is a fast bike, but it is, you know, it doesn't have anywhere near the power of the Panigale, so it takes a little longer to get there. And as such, it's less terrifying to ride. It's less comfortable, but it's also less terrifying. Even though there's no electronic safety net to keep you from going, you know, splat if you do something stupid. So the 916, you know, you crack it open in the first 2 or even 3 gears in some cases, it'll pick the front wheel off, and if you don't know how to handle that, you're gonna go splat. The Panigale has all of the electronic goodies to prevent that. So the Panigale, you can go a lot faster on it in the real world more of the time if you're anything shy of a completely pro rider. And I would classify myself as a pretty damn good rider. I've been riding sport bikes for, you know, nearly, oh god, how long's it been? About 20 years now, yeah. Oh, what a nice day. Stuck behind a retard. Today on Loco, 2 Italian superbikes once again get stuck behind a fucking retard. So yeah, 916 versus Panigale. They're both very fast, very awesome, amazing representations of what you can do with a racing motorcycle. The 916, I would say, is a bit more visceral, a bit more raw. In some ways, quite a bit more than the Panigale. The Panigale, all the control inputs are very light, very easy. The 916 makes you kind of work for it a bit more. In some cases, a lot more. The flip side of that is the Panigale is much faster. So if you really open the loud handle all the fucking way, especially using quick shift, it just goes like a motherfucker. The 916 is pretty far from slow. It just takes a bit longer for the craziness to happen, whereas the Panigale, it's instant. I mean, the Panigale, when you get it over like 10, 11,000 RPM, it almost feels like a 2-stroke, like it's on a pipe. It's cray-cray. Why is there a cop here? So to sum it up, Panigale is a much faster bike, and in many ways a much more forgiving bike, especially with all the electronics on. The Ducati, it's an old school bike, you know, it's a lot more visceral. It feels a lot more connected to it in some ways. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Panigale's feedback is amazing, but the 916 just tells you a little more about what's going on and has nothing in the way of gadgets to save you from yourself, whereas the Panigale has all kinds of that shit. So, both really amazing bikes, but having, you know, ridden them back to back, I'm actually quite surprised in how different they really are in character as well as control inputs. So yeah, Ducati 916 versus Ducati 1199 Panigale. Both amazing. In their own way, both unique, and both stuck behind a bunch of fucking retards going 25 fucking miles an hour. Awesome. Hey, you like my channel? Well, hit the subscribe button and I'll do more silly videos like this one.